Welcome back to High School DxD Anime Review, special number 13. This one reviewing the 25th light novel of the series, Yggdrasil of the Summer Courses. Yep, this is the final novel of the original light novel series for High School DxD before it was relaunched as True High School DxD. This one is all about mainly Ross Weiss. Yeah, the marriage interview that was basically set up in the last book happens in the first couple chapters. Yeah, where Issei accompanies her along with her grandmother. Of course, they meet up with the guy who is supposed to be her fiance for this interview. Yeah, this is actually, believe it or not, the new chief of the gods. Baldur, I think his name is. Valar, I think his name is. Yeah, of course, he calls up the engagement because he doesn't want to marry her because it was not initially his idea for this. It's probably one of his advisors who did this particular marriage interview. And Ross Weiss, after a while, decided to get drunk at the marriage interview for some reason. This is a funny illustration of the book with her just holding on to Issei and just being drunk because she cannot hold her liquor. Yes, this has basically been a minor gag for the series ever since book 9. And I'm surprised they said bring it back, but yeah, this has been a minor thing when it comes to Ross Weiss. Oh, I should point out though, she's probably the one character who gets the most character development in this whole book. Yeah, there's also a funny scene of Issei going to visit the university portion of the Color Academy. He goes to visit two of his fiancées, Reyes and Anako, and they introduce him to their university friends. Like, hey, this is Issei Hyoto, my and Anako's boyfriend, and we're engaged. And of course, all of the friends are like, wow, we're so jealous you got this handsome guy who happens to be younger than you, and he's your fiance. Yep. Yeah. And there's also, and of course, there's a rating game set up to win over Ross Weiss. And of course, prior to the game, Ross Weiss wants to sleep in the same bed as Issei. And then all of a sudden, she's in there, and then Kiniko and her sister pop up. Of course, when Kiniko shows up, she's wearing nothing but a pair of panties. And her sister shows up, and of course, Ross Weiss insists they leave because she wants to have Issei all to herself. Yep. And then, of course, they have the rating game. And it's a good rating game. I think, from what I could tell, it's a regular fighting one. And, of course, during the course of it, he asks her pretty much a similar pickup line that, from what I've heard, Michael Douglas used on Catherine Zeta-Jones. Ask to be the mother of her children. Mother of his children. Yeah, he asked her to basically have his child, and she said yes. And because of that, now she's officially the 8th fiance of Issei. Issei's 8th fiance. Because in book 22, he proposed to Reyes and Anako. In book 23 was Azia, Zenobia, and he proposed to Azia. Irina and Zenobia proposed to him. In the last book, he proposed to Kiniko and her older sister, Kuroka. This book is Ross Weiss. And the only woman who's actually in his life who he does not propose to is Revel. Yeah, it's odd though, he never proposed to Revel. Despite the fact she's in love with him. And has been in love with him since she first met him back in book 2. Yeah, these two have known each other for just close to a year. And she's kind of hinted at telling him. I mean, it's kind of implied Issei kind of knows that Revel's in love with him. But it's never explicitly stated if he has feelings for her. He has seen her, chest 3 times over the course of the series. The first time is when he peeked at her in the hot springs. The second time is when they bathed together. The third time is when he used her breast to communicate in the last book with Kiniko and her sister to propose to both of them. Yeah. And of course we have... they reveal the results of of course, Issei wins his rating game, and of course he proceeds to the main tournament with Reyes' team, mind you. And they also have even a training. They even have joint training with Reyes' group, which is suggested by, I think it was one of the people who actually are in charge of the tournament, he suggested that they should train together, which they agreed to in Issei's basement. Yep. And of course, yeah, apparently this book was released just this year, and I enjoy reading this book. I kind of forgot like a small portion of it, especially involving the rating game. But this overall was a good book. I was more interested in what was going on with Ross Weiss than the rating game itself. That is just me. This is nothing against the light novel itself. It's just I was more interested in what was going on with Ross Weiss and Issei than the rating game itself. Now, does Issei develop any new abilities for this book? No, he doesn't. I would say besides Ross Weiss and Issei get some character development, I would say we see some minor character development for Reyes and Aniko. As far as I can tell, there's this funny scene with him, with all his fiancés wanted to basically give him a cover with like suntan oil, and they're all competing over that. Yeah. This overall was a pretty good book, and a nice, good way to end the original series. Now, what about the sequel series? As far as I can tell, for the sequel series, just the opening, just the prelude chapter has been translated in English. I'm going to wait until the whole book is released in English before I get a chance to read it. As for the spin-off books, the 4 books that contain the short stories, those I'm going to wait a bit because I'm actually going to take a break from reviewing light novels for a little while because I want to start some anime. And the first anime I want to start up is Black Butler. I'm at a particular point in the manga where I can jumpstart watching the anime because, well, at a particular point I'm at the manga, that's where they got to in season 1 before they decided to deviate from it, which I will talk about that when I get a chance to talk about Black Butler. So yeah, not much else to say. I don't know if I'm forgetting anything when it comes to this particular book. I mean, yes, there is stuff related to other characters in this book. I mean, Kiba and other characters actually watch the game. Also, at one point, Hades shows up in the book, and he has a couple of his Grim Reapers attack Issei's father, who's with Orpheus and Lilith. Yeah, at one point they attack Issei's father, and of course, Issei, hearing about this, he gets upset and beats the crap out of the Grim Reapers for it. Yeah, he gets payback for them attacking his father. Probably because a few books back, Issei kind of defeated Hades. So, as far as I can tell, I think his Grim Reapers were not under. They probably were working under Hades' orders to attack Issei's father. But what was the whole point of attacking him? If you want to attack Issei. Don't attack his father. He has nothing to do with Hades at all. It looks like Hades has never met Issei's parents at all. Yeah. Now, as far as I can tell, Issei's mother is nowhere to be seen in this book. Issei's father is briefly seen in that one scene with him actually at the rating game, which is actually, I think it's the second one he's been to. Yep. And he's in he's actually in an authorized room where he's allowed to be in. And the only reason why I think he was allowed to go to this game, because he's the father of one of the kings of the game, one of the captains of the teams. So he was allowed to participate, no problem. Reyes' group was also allowed to be in there as well because they're friends of his and they're, of course, on our team. Yep. As far as I can tell, that's it. Yeah, of course, during that, when Issei's father was attacked, Orpheus and Lilith did defend him from the Grim Reapers. Yep. Also, I should point this out before I close this out. For some reason, I have no idea why this is, and when they list off teams, for some reason, Ross Weiss is listed as one of the bishops, and Revel is one of the pawns. I don't get how that is, especially since Revel is Issei's bishop, and Ross Weiss is Issei's rook. I don't really know why they switched around for. It's really weird. Yeah, it's particularly very odd. I mean, and also apparently they decided to also have another list for Issei's group, and his queen is not there, even though she really is. Yeah, it's Brina. That's her alias. But for some reason she's not listed. This list is his queen. Yeah, apparently look like the half of his list is vacant for some reason. I don't know why, but that's the way it was at the end of the book when they announced it. Yeah, so that's particularly it for this review. Stay tuned for my review my comic corner, which will talk about 2 X Factor trades. Yep, you'll find out what they are in my next video, okay? But do see you there. Bye.